battle for Middle-earth has begun. In the beginning, there was beta testing. Then, in early March 2010, there was nothing. But the GM spoke, and they said, let there be a second beta, this time with no character wipes. They created a world that would come into existence on March 17th. The people of Open Beta Test 1 knew that this world was coming into existence, and flocked to their consoles in order to get the jump on people who joined late. There was Requiem, who stood for blue, Eclipse, which stood for yellow, Vagrancy for the purple people, Valkyrie for the green elf kin, Phantoms for the red, and many others. One guild to rule them all. One guild to find them. One guild to take all the territories, and in one color bind them. But the GMs would not stand for this, so they all said, error could not connect to server. The people of this world were outraged. It was a terrible plot device, and so the GMs relented and said, we're gonna launch! And then, they did. And nobody could complete the tutorial because there were too many people leveling. Then people realized that they could play the game by taking over territory, and so Warrior Princess of Hordain shouted out to her people, there may be a day when the courage of men fails, but today is not that day. And the land of Essetia was taken in one day. For 40 giants and 40 knights, the land of Essetia was flooded by members of the 5 islands. But then the reign of knights stopped, and the survivors declared, no more summons, start building obelisks. It was a golden age for the people of the 5 kingdoms, but it was not to last. War broke out again, for the people were envious of the might of Hordain. They spoke with malice, and many arguments broke out between the newbies of each kingdom, not least of which were the people who said, need crystal, and the people who said, don't mine anymore. But their arguments were petty in comparison to the greatest argument of all, the power of Hordain. The elven Cicedrians knew that it was time to leave Middle-earth. They were about to set sail in their ships to leave to the island of Westerness. Yet it was not to be, for Queen Tivaris spoke. We can't let Gavrandria fall to Hordain, even though they were our enemies. Summon yourselves forth, valiant knights! And the elves were determined to fight until the last of their enemies had been banished from Middle-earth. Thus, a 5th nation entered into the fray, and it was called the Battle of the 5 Armies. Then, the might of Hordain was broken, and the elves reigned supreme. But their thoughts turned with greed towards the people of Yellsword. Hordain and Netzavar saw their opportunity and began to attack Yellsword from the rear. But the wise King Nias spoke and said, all we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. And then the valiant warriors, scouts, and mages of Yellforth ran forth, crying, to me! Forward! But it was for naught, for they were all outnumbered. But a young hobbit partaking in the battle looked up to the skies and spoke, I'm just a poor boy from a poor family. The other hobbit then looked up also, wondering why the former was singing Bohemian Rhapsody, and he declared, the dragons are coming! The dragons are coming! And so they came, and the courageous Hordainites, and the fearless Netzavarians, and the elven Cicedrians were all powerless to stop them. Yellsword was angered by the treachery of the 4 other nations. They struck back deep into enemy territory, piercing even to the home capital of the elves. Only the Gavarandians were spared. Now, the battle for Middle-earth rages on, no nation conceding defeat, yet no nation able to claim victory. Temporary truces are formed, and then broken without a second thought. The number of men who can fight is numbered at an upper bound, for the people of the nations were foolish, in that they flocked to one territory, leaving their flanks open for just anyone to attack. It was in this matter that Hordain, Cicedria, and now Yellsword
have all fallen.
Who can stop this cycle of war?